Hello, everyone. You know the drill. Let's do the diet update. Today I weighed 163.4, the exact same as yesterday. Not exactly sure what's going on. I guess my body is just hanging on to dear life for the 60s. I don't know. That's the best explanation I could think of. It's not really an explanation, just a theory. Alright, well, let's move on from that to what was eaten. So in the morning, I had a yogurt parfait made by my mom that consisted of full-fat Greek yogurt that was perfectly measured to ensure carbs were kept in check, 7 sundaes nut mix, which was quite good, 5 chopped up strawberries, and a small 1/4 cup of blueberries, and some allulose and a squeeze of lime. Mixed that all in, and that's what I ate. Then, after that parfait, if I'm remembering correctly, hold on, I kept a note to remember. Okay. Now I remember. Okay, I had 38 grams of sweet potato, which equated to 6 grams of carbs. Pretty good. I liked it. And then I had 5 of those green bean strips, which were very good. I really liked those. And they were only 3 grams of carbohydrates, so that's nice. Alright, well, now that we've given the update on what was eaten for the lunch and the afternoon, let's go on to what was had during dinner, which was a carne asada salad bowl made by my mom with one of those carbonated strawberry Walmart beverages with aspartame in it. Very good. I enjoyed that quite a lot. And I had a piece of Chalk Zero chocolate, the peppermint bark one. Pretty good. And a cup of tea with filtered milk, allulose, and pumpkin spice mixture in there, as well as black tea, Lipton black tea being the tea bag used. And that's everything I ate today. Any exercise? I went for an hour-long walk around the neighborhood before eventually going to work and doing plenty of walking there, out on lot, and in the store. And that's pretty much the health update. Let's go on with the daily update. I wrote everything down. Okay. So I woke up at 6:30 a.m. I used the restroom. Then I went back to sleep. At 11:30 a.m. I woke up again. I greeted my mom and my sister. My mom made me the yogurt parfait, and I ate that. Then, between 12 to 1 p.m., we all sat around the TV, me, mom, and my sister, and watched a guy on YouTube called Will Tennyson, who went on the keto diet for 1 week, and a junk food back to health food 2-day challenge. It was quite entertaining and interesting to see him gaining a lot of weight in one day and then somehow losing it all the next day. Pretty much goes to show that a lot of the weight gained from eating the junk food is water weight, because your body's hanging on to all the water due to all the sodium you're consuming. It's pretty interesting. All right. Then I went on a walk while listening to 2 podcasts for about an hour. Afterwards, I watched a video of between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. after my walk. I watched a video of a guy talking about Mario Kart World and how broken the online is. Then Video Game Donkey, a YouTube channel that's focused on gaming related content, talking about a game called Sonic Cross Worlds. Basically more like a sort of humorous, fun, well-edited joke video in a way. Basically making fun of how, crazy and unhinged the game's presentation is. Alright. Then I watched a guy talk about artificial intelligence and how unreliable it is, and how a lot of businesses are regretting using it to replace workers, which does bring some hope in for the future. And then another guy talking about creepy humanoid robots that have realistic looking muscles. Then, between 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., I did some breath work and a meditation session. I had 3 things written down that I wanted to do. I wanted to wake up at 6:30. Technically, I did that, but I fell back asleep. I wanted to do a full body stretch. Didn't do that. And then I wanted to meditate for 10 minutes. I did meditate for the end after my breath work for 10 minutes, so I did do that. So hey, 2 out of 3 things, even though technically it was just 1 out of 3 things, because the first thing I did, but I just went back to sleep without staying up. All right. Well, after the meditation session, I got dressed for work and I left. I had a 4-hour shift today from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it was a perfectly fine day. I had my first hour out on lawn, pushed carts in, was very friendly to customers, offered them carts if they needed them. Any interesting things that happened out on lot? Not really. I can't think of anything. Then, the next 2 hours, I had sweeps, so I had to put on my sweep jacket and get to work. First hour, I spent sweeping the the produce area and the area around the store. Second hour, I was asked by one of the my coworkers at the front end to bring items back, doing go backs essentially. So I did. Got knocked out, except for these things called pickleballs, which were like classic snacks. Were like corn products with like pickle flavor in them, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Spicy flavor. Anyways, after that, I swept a little bit around the front end, and then I was asked, well, not asked, but I went out to do 1 more hour out on lot. And between the middle half of that hour, I was asked by one of my coworkers if I could see if we had any receipt tape in the back so we could restock that receipt tape in the front. We did not, so I couldn't do that. So I let him know, and he said, all right. So I continued doing a lot. When I was done, I said goodnight to my coworkers and I left. I guess the most interesting thing that happened at work today was probably one of my coworkers was singing the song "When the Moon Hits Your Eye Like a Big Pizza Pie, That's Amore" in the bathroom, and I sang along with him, so that was pretty funny. And then he sang a song that I've never heard of, and I was like, that's interesting. And that's about the most interesting thing I could think about talking about from work. Well, I drove back home, and when I got home, my mom had returned home and was making the salad and then cooking the carne asada. I needed to contact one of my banks because I wanted to get some work done there, but I wasn't able to because a security question was asked. I wasn't able to answer it in a way that was satisfactory, so I had to figure things out with the customer service. Luckily, though, the service I used was very helpful. They were apparently have 24-hour service, and they are willing to help out no matter what. So that's really nice. I like that. Well, anyways, once I got that sorted out, I had the carne asada taco salad, which was very good with the Walmart carbonated strawberry beverage, and we hang out with I hung out with my mom and my sister. Then my mom wanted to watch something on TV, so we went and tried to find something on TV to watch. I was super shot out and exhausted from my day at work, so I wanted to find something kind of interesting and light to watch. I found a video about like aliens to watch, and it was honestly like there's something really common about these alien videos, these stories that are recorded and then reported back by YouTube channels. Basically, the person who experiences it experienced it since they were a little kid, all the way to when they're an adult, sporadically throughout their lives. And then they say the beings give them telepathic imagery in their head about like potential futures of Earth being disastrous and fiery. And then after that, they're given really vague messages that they can only assume mean like something like, I guess something's gonna happen on my birthday. They said the number 43 and my 43rd birthday's coming up. And then they just see like a fleet of UAP flying around them for a while, and then they go. And then everyone's like, ooh, I tell people, but I don't want to be seen as a crazy person. I think the most interesting thing about these sightings is like they all seem to happen between like the 60s all the way to the like 90s, early 2000s. But as soon as like things like smartphones became a thing, finding compelling stories and footage and evidence of these events has started to become more scarce. I'm not sure why. You'd think that now that people have like a phone in their pocket at all times, they'd be able to record some crazy stuff. And the depressing thing is, even if people did record some crazy stuff, due to how advanced AI technology has gotten, a lot of people would just assume it's artificial intelligence anyway, even if it was real. So it's honestly a frustrating time for anyone who's interested in the UFO phenomenon, you know, especially when you hear things like, you know, Congress meetings with like people who supposedly encountered these strange craft and, you know, swearing under oath to Congress. And we've had like 3 of those meetings, and, you know, it's sad that it feels like we haven't really gone too far since then. And the last bit of footage that was like supposedly leaked to the public is like apparently debunked as like a balloon hit by like a missile, and just, I don't know. Like, you know, it's cool to think that it might be real. Like, I like the idea of interstellar beings being around the planet, but if there's no hard evidence, then you might as well be believing in a fairy tale, you know? They're fun stories, it's entertaining, but if there's nothing to really go off of, then it just kind of becomes more frustrating than exciting by the end. Oh well. Anyways, gone long enough about that. After that video, we watched a video of a guy talking about little small cats for like about an hour, or no, it was 30 minutes. It was from the YouTube channel Casual Geographic. I normally enjoy his videos all the time, but I don't know. Maybe it was because I was super tired. Maybe it was because my mom was asleep at that time, so she wasn't like reacting with me about anything of this, or maybe it's just that his sense of humor is starting to wear thin on me personally. But I just didn't really get much out of this episode for whatever reason. Like, normally I think it's kind of funny or like, thoughtful, and I mean, there's no doubt it is still thoughtful and still well presented, and the guy who makes them does a great job. But for whatever reason, I just didn't get much out of it this time around. I guess it's a me thing. Well, after that, then we watched a YouTube video about like a guy talking about fasting and what to look out for when you fast, and that was a really good video. It was from a YouTube channel called What I've Learned Today, and it was like about the pitfalls of fasting, I think, something like that. It was a pretty good video, I would say, pretty good. Ultimately, don't fast if you're already thin, because you're basically asking to have your body eat your muscles alive. Because if you're a bit thicker, your body's gonna focus on the fat. But you also need to do some mild exercise. So, because apparently if you work your muscles, it's sending signals to your brain telling you, oh, we're using these, let's not eat them, let's eat the fat instead. And another thing is that you got to keep your electrolytes replenished at all times, because if you don't, then you're gonna, feel fatigued and low energy. Another thing that I think I remember was that you should only fast if you've gradually switched from eating a lot of carbs to eating a more ketogenic diet, like meats or fats or vegetables. So, because if you eat a lot of carbs before going on a diet, then you're gonna immediately crash out, and your body's not gonna have your body's just not gonna be able to get used to it as easily. So those were some of the key points I learned. It was a pretty good video, well organized and orchestrated, and I very much enjoyed watching it. Well, after that, my mom went to sleep. I needed to use the restroom. When I was done, I went back to the front room. I played on my Switch. I was playing a bit of a game called Earthbound using the SNES online controller, which it's pretty cool. It feels like a little, launch back to the past. Like, yeah, it feels kind of like how it would have felt like had I played the game back when it originally released. I like that. And that was just messing around with other games on the Switch until eventually I got tired of it. So I tuned off my Switch, I took my vitamins, and then I was looking at different videos on my phone mindlessly. One about a guy who made a joke video about how, like, when you get older, your brain suddenly decides to not like things that you liked when you were younger, like video games, because like adult brains are built for survival, not for like dropping time into fictional worlds and events. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty relatable video, I have to admit. I mean, I still enjoy gaming, but when I look at them, like, yeah, I'd be lying if I said my brain didn't experience those lines of thinking too. And then I was like watching a video about a guy talking about like how there was like an error in a Toy Story 1 and 2 DVD box set back in the early 2000s that was shipped to Costco's, where there was like a scene from like an R-rated movie in there, like of characters swearing at each other. It was like a glitch on like the company Technicolor's part when they were printing the discs and accidentally switched files in the wrong spots with the films. Pretty interesting video. After it was done, I snuggled my eldest cat Avery and our youngest, well, our youngest cat, call me. He's black cat. And then I was like, oh, I need to record my video. So here it is. That's pretty much my day. Overall, I would say I mean, it was okay, but if I'm being honest with you, my brain feels like I could have done more for myself. I did do a little bit, so I don't feel too cheated, but I feel like I should have done more. Like, I should have worked on a project or something, but I didn't. But there's always tomorrow. So let's see if I do something about it tomorrow, and I'll report back to you. Yeah. Okay, well, that'll have to do for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.